Another day, another crisis looms on the Korean peninsula, or so the story is about to go. Plus, China continues its building spree. Thai authorities confirm a long-suspected link, and red shirts are poised to rally in Kuala Lumpur. These stories are coming up next. This is the Asia Brief. Greetings and salutations, my excellent friends. Steve Miller here on this wonderful Wednesday, September 16, 2015. Thank you so much for joining me today. Oi, I tell you what, I thought I would have been able to go a little bit further down the road before drudging up North Korea once more, but here we go again. A day after Pyongyang announced the world would see a series of satellites from North Korea soar into the sky, Kim Jong-un decided to up his game by announcing that his nation had nuclear weapons and was prepared to use them. These statements came on the same day that the North Korea's Atomic Energy Institute confirmed the resumption of normal operations at the Yongbyon nuclear reactor, which had been previously suspected, so that announcement really wasn't all that surprising. What is a little surprising, though, is the press North Korea's latest quote-unquote threat against the United States is getting. That thread said, quote, "If the United States and other hostile forces persistently seek their reckless hostile policy towards the DPRK and behave mischievously, the DPRK is fully ready to cope with them with nuclear weapons at any time." End quote. Now, this is the same threat, just issued on a different day. Could North Korea deliver a nuclear weapon somewhere? Sure, most likely, but to a somewhat close-range target. Would it? Well, that's highly unlikely, as it would be the end of the Kim Jong-un regime. But North Korea continues to make progress on delivery systems, officially announcing the suspected missile launch I talked about yesterday for October 10th to celebrate the Workers' Party's 70th birthday. Robert Kelly, an associate professor at Pusan National University, believes one reason we're seeing this from Kim is because of President Park Geun-hye's pursuit of closer ties with China, which is creating distance to North Korea. That could be seen with China coming out immediately and condemning the announcement, saying, quote, "As a sovereign state, North Korea has the rights for peaceful use of outer space, but these rights are restricted by UN resolutions. UN Security Council resolutions should be followed, though. China hopes that the relevant party can act with caution and refrain from taking actions that may elevate tension on the Korean peninsula and in the region." End quote. South Korea said it would request a harsh UN response if the test proceeds. U.S. Assistant Secretary of State Daniel Russell told reporters, quote, "It would be a mistake for North Korea to once again embark on this kind of threatening behavior and provocations that led to international sanctions in the first place." End quote. That we are back again in this situation should clearly demonstrate South Korea's inept handling of the previous situation. That President Park believed that North Korea would promise not to conduct itself in a manner that would increase tensions and okayed the deal clearly demonstrates a naivety in dealing with the North. Once more, let me say it again, very clearly. North Korea out-negotiated the South last month and got everything it wanted, while President Park got nothing. It would not surprise me at this point if the family reunions are pulled before they're set to take place in late October. So sit back and get ready for another round of fear-mongering about this threat of war, when in fact, it's just a new day and nothing has changed. Tourists can still visit the DMZ, and eventually we'll see these tensions subside. That's not to say that it isn't prudent to increase one's defensive posture, but to believe that war is imminent would be buying into the hype and not reality. As I have noted for years, the West needs to find a better way to deal with North Korea, because clearly, the way that it has doesn't work. Satellite imagery collected by the Center for Strategic and International Studies show China is building a third airstrip on Mischief Reef, one of the several artificial islands Beijing has created in the Spratly Islands. Greg Poling, director for the group's Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative, said, quote, "Clearly, what we have seen is going to be a 3,000-meter airstrip, and we have seen some more work on what is clearly going to be some port facilities for ships." End quote. Analysts say the runway could accommodate most of China's military aircraft, allowing the nation to penetrate deeply into the heart of the South China Sea. The United States declined to comment directly on the Center for Strategic and International Studies information, but noted, quote, "China's stated intentions with its program and continued construction will not reduce tensions or lead to a meaningful diplomatic solution." End quote. Polling also said the new airstrip would allow China to mount more or less constant patrols over Reed Bank, where the Philippines has long explored for oil and gas, adding it would be especially worrying if China were to install advanced air defenses, which, based on other images retrieved over the past year, we know is very likely. The question still remains, how much longer will the world let China move in unchecked? Perhaps Vietnam will lead the charge and force China to reassess its strategy. That conversation with Rand Corporation's Scott Harold is coming your way Friday. Thai police have officially linked last month's Erewhon shrine bombing to China's Uyghur ethnic minority group. Investigators believe the attack was retaliatory in nature and carried out by human traffickers who smuggled Uyghurs through Thailand. The cause was the human trafficking networks trafficking Uyghurs from one country to another, said National Police Chief Somiot. Authorities had hinted at the link previously, but never confirmed it. They're still looking for the man known as Ishan, whom they believe is in Istanbul, despite Turkish authorities saying that they have no record of his entry. Today, Barisan Nasional, also known as the Red Shirts, are planning on gathering in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, to rally support for Prime Minister Najib. The assembly is viewed as a counter-rally to the Bersih 4 protests last month, where nearly 250,000 people came out calling for reform. Roughly 250 groups are supporting the rally to counter quote-unquote ethnic Chinese from the opposition Democratic Party and the disrespect they cause Malays and Malay leaders. Concerns have risen that the gathering might spark violence. In fact, there was discussion as to whether or not the rally should be allowed to proceed. Prime Minister Najib said that the rally-goers must adhere to police orders and not say or display anything that could be considered seditious. Messages circulating on social media caution non-Malays to avoid the city in case there are clashes, but police say they will be on high security to ensure public order and safety. That'll do it for me today, but please take a moment and let me know your thoughts. I truly want to hear from you. The Asia Brief is a special feature of the Asia News Weekly podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, please share it with your friends, and if you haven't, subscribe. Subscribing is free, and when you do, the next episode is delivered automatically to you. You can subscribe on our website, asianewsweekly.net, or in your favorite podcast application. You can also keep up with more news from the region by following Asia News Weekly on Facebook or Twitter. And if you have any comments, questions, or feedback, be sure to drop us a line. That email address is podcast@asianewsweekly.net. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, remember to be true to yourself and to always be awesome.